Good morning from Seattle. Good afternoon to the rest of the country. Starting a little bit later than usual, usually 11 a.m. Pacific time. Doing the legal blogging in 45 chapters. This will become the precursor to a book, 45 chapters long, obviously. Let me reframe this a little bit. And we're doing a chapter a day. And this will run all the way till about the middle of July. We're up to chapter 14 today. I'd like to just make one comment before this. Many of you might be in cities that have been affected by the riots, peaceful protests, very peaceful protests, but certainly riots. And so when you're looking behind me, right out here, there were probably 10,000 people peacefully protesting on Saturday, but by late Saturday afternoon, 5 blocks, maybe 4 blocks down the street, the riots started with police cars lit on fire, windows destroyed, all the stores vandalized. Very sad situation for Seattle. It first started on Friday right out my window right here with a smaller crowd, very, very peaceful until they got beaten with sticks and sprayed pepper spray at them. It got a little bit disruptive after that. So as I told my team this morning here in Seattle, I think we have to be really sensitive to what's going on in the country as to not only the pandemic, but now 25% unemployment rate and riots going on, and riots just don't happen. There's something going on below the surface. So I think we have to be thinking about what we can do for other people, because that's the best thing we can do as lawyers. What can we do for others? And that's where the Blog for Good campaign started, and then getting the legal blogging in 45 chapters, a chapter a day, really started with how we can help folks. Today's on tags, and tags on a blog are nothing more than, as you write a post, you tag the content. So imagine looking at a blog and you were thinking about, categories, and categories might be, if we're thinking about the face of a blog, and you've got the title of the blog, published by, your body of content right here, and over here are your categories. So those are maybe 6, 8, 10, max 12. Don't have 24 categories. It's schizophrenia. But what you're doing with the tags then is you're saying, let's say this is a blog about IP litigation in a particular district court, or let's say it's about family law in a particular state, and you've got categories here, which are the major things that might be covering. So let's say for family law it is domestic abuse, it might be custody, it might be visitation, it might be the divorce, it could be 6 or 8 other things. Let's say something becomes a smaller item. Let's say it references a particular case in your state that's a seminal case on visitation or something, and so you might be writing about that here and then tag it as this case. So somebody comes along, or you want to go back and see, what are the cases that I cited this? And it's been something that bloggers have done over the years. So that's what a tag is. It's basically thinking of, I got my categories, now I'm going to take even something deeper, very deep. You could be writing about a circuit court or a district court. Let's say it's district court on a particular type of subject. Maybe you've got things labeled by particular judges, particular people on the bench, so that you can see what you've written about on that. Now, search might trump that in the way that you find it, but people have organized things well doing that. But that's what tags are. History of tags. Tags were a big deal when blogs started, or maybe blogs first started in back in the 90s even. Maybe it wasn't so big, but it certainly was big by the time LexBlog started, and we brought legal blogging to the forefront for lawyers. People tagged everything, and people thought that tagging was going to increase the search engine rankings in their blogs. They're tagging everything under the sun. So you got 14, 15 tags. People are thinking in their heads, oh my God, what could people be searching on? I better put this in as a tag and get the blog, to rank for that type of thing. It's not that type of thing today. Lawyers still do it. Lawyers can be anal in the way they approach things, and lawyers are not fast to change. So we're doing it this way. This is the way we're going to do it forever. Don't have 14, 15 tags, maybe one or two. And I'm serious, if you do too much of it, unless you figured out a way to make it work for yourself or for other lawyers in a practice group, you're looking, a little bit lame and you look a little bit out of touch. What you don't want to do as a lawyer is to make it look like I'm not like you. Remember that. I'm a lawyer. You're not a lawyer. You don't want to have people thinking that way. You might not think you're doing that, but you are implying that to people when you look like you're out of touch with what other people may be doing blogging. How much are tags used today? I haven't tagged anything in years. Could be a decade. And I haven't felt any loss in use of blogging and the ability for people to find content on my blog because I don't tag. I see some of it, but not as much. So a lot of the mainstream blogs, you don't see a lot of tags. And again, think outside what lawyers typically do and look at what non-lawyers do. So what does that blog on sports look like? What does that blog from home design look like? What does that blog write on societal issues? How many tags do they have? Just look around to see what people are doing. And you want to be more unlike lawyers than like lawyers, because following what lawyers do isn't necessarily connecting with the public. You want to be doing the things that they're used to reading in other places. So you don't have to use them, and I think they've gone down as far as popularity. What's the value of tags? I think there is some value if you were actually writing a post and linking to the tag in the post. So right there you're writing about Judge so-and-so, you're writing about this case. You might want to even link into that. Cases might be a little bit different because you're linking out to the case so people can read it if you want to do so. But as you refer to something in your post, you can link to that tag, which is going to cause the tag page to open up when people want to find the content. And you can have the tags appear, and that's basically metadata that's going to populate the RSS feed. But as the tag is going to be displaying below the bottom of the post, people can hit that, and you can hit it and see the posts that have been written on that subject. So there could be reason that you could say, okay, I want to have that appear. I want to tag it so that people can see the depth at which I've covered that issue. And imagine getting, you've been blogging for a number of years, you can tag and find all the content on that. Imagine starting out, now you're going to be 2, 3, 4 years, and you were smart enough to just nail a niche. You didn't go, California employment law, really, really broad. You're not going to stick out. Let's say it was a particular, regulation in California employment law that nobody else blogged on. Now you've got that. And now you're going to basically pick ultra niches inside of that. You get your categories over here, but you're going to pick ultra niches. It might be which court, it might be which judge. So imagine somebody coming in and looking and saying, wow, this person really covers these things in depth. But if you have a lot of tags, that isn't going to mean too much. But if you can really focus in on those type of things, yes, you could see that this person is covering those things, and they probably know more about what's going on in the tenancy judiciary or certain trends on these sub-issues than maybe any lawyer in the state of California. Maybe, and that could be impressive. The value for SEO, I think, is none. Again, I've conceded that I'm not the biggest SEO expert in the world. I know a lot more about blogging than SEO. But the impact of tagging everything so it's going to come up higher in the search engine rankings is not going to be something you want to be chasing after. It's not going to do a whole lot for you. So I wouldn't be chasing after tags for purposes of SEO. I mean, there was a time in the early days, that gee, if we tag all this, we'll come up. But think about how foolish that is. If everybody tags it, how is everybody going to rank at the top of the search engine? So it can't work. It can't work that way. Google isn't going to go around and chase every tag that's created. In fact, as you create more and more pages, there might be an issue of duplicit content because your tag is a page, you got this is a page, your home page is a page, you got category is a page of content, your post is a page of content, all similar content. Use them. I guess it's your personal decision. Are they valuable to you? Do you think they're valuable to your readers? Think about those type of things. Don't think about it as trying to, game some system. Think about what's valuable to you as far as tags. Part of me, wanted to skip by tags because it just seems like such a small issue in blogging. But after I talked with a team member this morning, we get questions on tags. Should I use them or not use them? And thought it was worthwhile to cover it. And so if we're getting questions on it, there's certainly a lot of other people that have questions on it. The last thing I wanted to mention is Blog for Good. The campaign continues. We now have 27 sites done. What I say by 27 sites done, that's 27 syndication portals done for states. So 27 states. There's, I think, 5 or 6 are up live. A number of them are being built, and then a number of them are being built to be launched, and the rest, maybe somewhere between 15 and 20, are built to be displayed. What I mean by a syndication portal, it takes all of the content from bloggers in a state, legal bloggers, and aggregates it in one place and can curate it to shine a light on the best insight and information. And in the case of bar associations, they have an instant publication, shine a light on an aggregation of content coming from lawyers in their state. And today, a lot of it is regarding the pandemic. Now, there might be additional things about the suffering that's going on in sittings in light of the riots over the weekend, but most of the content coming from lawyers today is about the pandemic. So imagine what's coming in. Nationally, we might be having 600-700 posts a day relating to pandemic issues and economic related pandemic issues, all coming into LexBlog. And then that can be sliced for a particular state. So if we reach out to Colorado and say, would you like to see what the lawyers in Colorado are publishing? And we can see their content, we can see the profile of the lawyer, we can see a profile of the blog, and we can see a profile of the firm, all in this publication. And would you like to introduce it to more lawyers in your state whose content is already not, or is not already being aggregated in here? And they get excited about that. And then those lawyers that are not blogging and have their content coming in here, they can now get a blog for free from LexBlog because they'll be in a participating association. So it's fun stuff for us. I mean, we talked with Illinois last week. We talked with Texas last week. Talked with Florida last week, and it's exciting. And maybe we're sticking our necks out here a little bit, but if we're sticking our necks out to help people, where we're not out, trying to aggressively sell things right now during the pandemic, we're going to develop relationships with people. But if we can build relationships founded on helping people, that's kind of what it's all about. So that's what Blog for Good is all about. You can get information on Blog for Good at LexBlog, and we're continuing to add more information up there. You can see the map of the United States, which is showing which states are already participating and which states there's already sites done for which we'll be approaching the bar associations. Hope you guys have a great week. See you tomorrow. Stay well.